Hello everyone. Today I wanted to share my experience with the iCarsoft CR Max and give a quick review of its features, functionality, and how well it performs for DIY purposes. Just to make it clear, this is not an advert video. I've purchased this tool quite some time ago when I initially started with the remapping services, so I thought it would be useful to share my experience and some of the things that I liked, disliked about using it. Overall, for this price range, as an entry-level diagnostic tool, I'm going to say that it's one of the best tools on the market. It has a user-friendly interface. It's Android-based, which means that besides diagnostics, you could also use it for more or less as a normal tablet to search things in Google, watch YouTube, or if you're a mechanic, to send email of the diagnostic reports to your customers. So there's a broad range of special functions and activations, which for most DIY users, it will probably cover all the basics and even more. Another benefit is that it's not subscription based. It comes with lifetime software updates, so it's not going to turn into a necessary expense if you don't need to use it or leave it on the shelf. On the disadvantage side, one of the things I found to be annoying is that the special functions listed in the service tab are model to model specific and do not work on every single vehicle. If there is a specific function that you're interested in, make sure you check the supported vehicle list in the tool's website. An example for this is the AdBlue coverage and functions, which isn't particularly good. In fact, from asking their support team previously, they claim that no AdBlue functions are currently supported. However, I've been able to read and do AdBlue bits and pieces with this tool before, so I'm not entirely sure what's the situation there. Another disadvantage for me has been the light commercial vehicle coverage. An example for this is a recent experience with Ford Courier and Iveco Daily, which surprised me for not being supported, but at the same time offers very good coverage for other makes and brands I've tested, like Sprinters and other light commercial vehicle models. So let's dive into it and have a look at the interface and some of its core functions. So we have already powered the tool and it automatically boots into the diagnostic application. This is the main menu with different tabs, which we'll review one by one shortly. We start with the upgrades. This requires internet connection, but as soon as it's connected, you can see all the available upgrades for different brands. A quite nice thing about this is that you don't necessarily need to install all updates. If, for example, there is a brand which you don't need to scan or work with. Next, we're going to have a look at these service functions. Again, those are subject to vehicle brand and model support, and not everything you see would necessarily be available to you. Yes, I can see they have added some AdBlue functions which were not there before. It's still quite limited, but I guess it's something. Coming back to the main menu, we also have vehicle history and user data, which would allow us to access any saved reports and screenshots. I'll come back to this later. If you go to the diagnostic tab now, here we can see the list of brands available to scan. Okay, it indicates that there's some updates available. We're going to ignore that and move to the brand of interest. Today we have a Volvo V40, so I'm going to select it. As we can see, it gives us the option to auto-scan the VIN or manually select our vehicle. Of course, I'm going to select the auto-scan function. So here it gives us a couple of options to run an auto scan, where it will run a scan and detect the modules the car is equipped with and lists the found fault codes. The caveat is that it may take some time till it fully reads the vehicle. Next option is to manually select a specific control unit to make a scan or access some of its functions and live data. And lastly, we have the service functions available to your car, which is kind of a shortcut to the main menu icon. Okay, so before we run the auto scan function, we need to switch to key ignition position 2. So it performs the scan and we can already see some fault codes being detected. I know what they are for, so I'm not worried, but it actually is kind of good as we can look at a practical example. So once that's finished, we have the option to erase the codes or to save in a report in case we want to print those out for a customer or want to save those for ourselves later. If we click on the report function, as we can see, it lists the fault codes with their description. So we click on the save button and later I'll show you where to find the save location because to be fair, it's not very obvious. So let's have a look at the same module, read fault codes. We have ECM, PCM incompatibility, which I'm aware of. If we go a step back and select module information, it gives us some information about the central electronic module, hardware and software number. I'm finding this very useful, especially when checking the engine control unit, as in the case for remapping, which obviously saves me the time, which obviously saves me having to take the module physically off the car and checking it manually. We also have clear fault memory, which allows to clear fault codes only for this module. You can also check some live data from various sensors. There is also the activations, which could help verify operational specific functions. So I wanted to show you the live data menu. I have selected the ECU module. Here it gives us a list of sensors reading and ECU parameters. Something I quite like and often use for debugging is that if you select two parameters, I'm going to do the accelerator pedal requested and actual reading as an example. You could basically review them in a graph mode individually, but you could also plot them together, monitor them in a different scenarios, and even record them so you can review them later. There's a plenty of options, especially for Volvos. I've personally been quite happy with it. Here we have more activations. Let me try to pick one which you'll be able to see or hear at least. Engine light malfunction, that should do. I press start and we can see the check engine light going off and back on. Again, plenty of functions available, but we don't have time to look into every single one right now. So I also wanted to have a look at the service functions. Again, my understanding is that you don't have to go back to the main menu in order to select model available functions, but as you have selected your model already, it will derive what's available for you here. From having a quick look, I can see that we mostly have all of the functions, resets, and calibrations, which we are going to find with the factory diagnostic software. A quick example is the transmission control module, which in the previous generation 6-speed automatic transmission, you had to reset the oil counter after oil or after complete or partial oil replacement, which is something you could easily do here with this tool. Another cool option for Volvo specifically is the injector coding function. On the older 5 cylinders with injector replacement, you had to program the new calibration codes into the ECU. It's a shame that again that's not relevant function to the current vehicle we have, as here we have smart injectors which you only need to reset once replaced, but I guess it would be good information for someone. The last thing I wanted to show you is the user data options from the main menu. As I mentioned earlier, it took me some time till I figured out where to find the stored vehicle red reports. If you go to the report option, that's not going to show you what you need. Instead, you need to go to the playback and you need to go to miss data, and that's where you're actually going to find your saved readings. And then if you want to print this out as a report, you need to press on the PDF button, and then this is going to save it to the report folder, which we initially had a look at. There we go. I missed to mention, if you go back to playback in the live data bar, here you can access any recorded live data readings. In the fault codes tab, you will be able to find just the individual fault codes saved. Here you also have the user menu. So overall, that should cover some of the main functions of the iCarsoft CR Max, which hopefully will be useful to someone who plan to buy this too or a similar one. Thank you for watching, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.